Do we got one more or do we got one more? Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Listen.
Make some noise for How Fly.
Hey. Listen. Sean Ross got me swimming on a different wave. Every day a nigga plays until a nigga pays. They was going shade, but it never stayed. Still standing on my own.
Still standing on my own too. On two. If I hustle, then I won't lose. Won't lose. No matter what I go through. I'm still standing on my own too. I'm still standing on my own too. On two. If I hustle, then I won't lose. Won't lose. No matter what I go through. I'm still standing on my own too. I'm still standing on my own too.
Thinking real deep when you chase your dreams. Thinking everything gon' be like on the TV screen. Old flings and new flings trying to get between. Sometimes you don't see eye to eye and had to split the team. I took my old records off the shelf. Got money flowing in my circle, gotta watch the wealth. Long haul, got my bag and I don't need your help. So I can let you the beat but really scared self.
On two. If I hustle, then I won't lose. Won't lose. No matter what I go through. I'm still standing on my own too. I'm still standing on my own too. On two. If I hustle, then I won't lose. Won't lose. No matter what I go through. I'm still standing on my own too. I'm still standing on my own too.
Like still I'm putting numbers on the board. Like real, every beat a nigga getting on. Get killed to the day I got it sold up. No crib, Lord take this nigga how fly. How fly, black power, talking black power. Brown pride, every day I'm reppin' 805. Southside, if a nigga got a problem, he can catch me outside. Still standing on my own too.
On two. If I hustle, then I won't lose. Won't lose. No matter what I go through. I'm still standing on my own too.
Hey, how you doing, Jimmy?
I just do what I do. You can't walk in my shoes. Walking my, you would know what I'm talking about. Talking about what you talking about. You don't know, you should watch your mouth.
Jokes on you, the street singing on the truth, they never spoke on you. It's electric high, shaking like Voltron do. Me and James link up like Voltron do.
Standing on my own too. Choose us, let's go, choose us. Then I won't lose, no matter what I go through. I'm still standing on my own too. I'm still standing on my own too. If I hustle, then I won't lose, no matter what I go through. I'm still standing on my own too. Thank you guys so much.
Make some noise for James K. Everybody make some noise for James K.
Two.
Stuck in my ways, moving is better to pay. I just got one thing to say. It ain't for the fame, the glory, the power, the praise. It's more about paving the way, leading in change, nurture humanity's brain. Kill us of all of the pain. Let's go! So let me acknowledge all of the drama. The damage to all my thoughts is just a little so they never transmission, just me in the class. Only spoke up, she in the bathroom. Not this gold, love on South Cabo. First match she met there, he made her an offer. Took her to EA, he said that she liked her daddy and temper, he wanted to spy her. Told her Mary she had no more options, only for two, but she needed a confidence. And her belief with the guidance is raw, her I'm the fruits of that offer. I'm here to say, I'm claiming all of her space, so we can finish this race. I'm gonna ever take her in waste. I'm illegal, let's go, let's go. She made her own name, but it's amazing that she wants to say. Living up girl in the zone, that's all she got to say.
Let's
go, SLO! Make some noise!
That was some hard shit, and it was hella fast. But this next shit is more lit. So I'm gonna need y'all to turn up with me, alright?
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Estoy publicando mi creencia, los perros sienten en pieza. Estoy gritando el sol y la luna, sube mi energía de pies a cabeza. Dime que lo sientes, mami, ese ritmo de la tierra, dale. Que te lleve tu clima, taxi.
Dale, muy fácil.
Snapping out your machine when I cash. Watch your box, you're feeling fast. But then just one day, making a blast. Sipping the pretty cool, eating the drug, way acting fool. Right in the head, what do you say? Money don't ever leave you in sight. So I forgot me, you know my shit. I've been doing a lot of fucking wrong. I made you the bitch on my back, but you know I shit. And I did it on my own, I can't do it again. Very mad about that, team, I gotta win. I watch my shine, do I gotta represent. Nothing is wrong, I'm here to make amends and again. I'm my own, cause I'm not that sorry. And I run my shit up body. And it be any verse I got it. Hit a tempo song.
On it, I'm that bitch, shawty.
And I write on my shit up body. And it be any verse I got it. Hit a tempo song. I'm on it, so I'll be working my crown. Blessing you be when you want my rounds. Mother is praising the sound. Permanent energy, radio sound. He goes as mad cause we got new news. Doing our thing, got nothing to prove. Making these moves, baby, this nothing new. I swear to God, females can't make moves without being judged. You showing too much skin, you not showing enough. You doing too much, you not doing enough. You can't rap, bitch, fuck you. Fuck you. Estoy publicando mi creencia, estamos siendo en prensa. Publicando el sol y la luna, sube energía de pies a cabeza. Dime que lo sientes, mami, ese ritmo en la tierra, dale. Que te lleva de tu clima, taxi. Dale, muy fácil. Mi creencia, estamos siendo en prensa. Bailando, gritando el sol y la luna, sube energía de pies a cabeza. Dime que lo sientes, mami, ese ritmo en la tierra, dale. Que te lleva de tu clima, taxi.
Dale, muy fácil.
When I started this podcast, I realized that doing the editing and doing the sound design would probably take a lot out of me and make it a less enjoyable process. Enter Jay Riley. Jay Riley is probably the premier producer here on the Central Coast, and in a twist of irony, he actually lives about 2.5 blocks from me. Throughout the course of our conversation, we got into music and photography, and he came over and did a shoot with me one day. When I mentioned that I was doing a podcast, he immediately offered to do the sound design. Jay's an incredible talent and someone who's very neurodiverse, meaning that he can think about a lot of things all at one time. Today's guest is Jay Riley. Jay Riley, welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
So you are a producer, you produce beats, you sing. How many instruments do you play?
Just about all of them in the book. Started playing drums right out of the womb. I'd say by the time I was 3, there's videos of me already playing on little mock bongos and drum sets and that type of stuff. So been playing drums since basically birth, but I also do guitar, keyboard. I tried violin, and then when it comes to the production side, I just experiment with every type of sound. I've picked up a lot of weird instruments kind of along the way. The marimba, I guess, is the most out there.
Okay. Okay. So, did you grow up in a musical home?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tell me about your folks.
So, my dad was a touring musician ever since he was in high school. So, he was always a drummer. Well, he started off as a drummer, at least. He started writing songs just about right out of the gate. And he started his own record label around the same age that I'm at now. So he had his own studio that he built. He was going to college a little bit down south near Orange County. So he was going to school there and writing, recording. He started a band called Allison Dread and then started another one called the Nixon Years, and both of which did pretty well. They were on the radio, and he was either the interchangeable frontman or the drummer. So he would kind of do either guitar or singing, but primarily drums or songwriting. So that was cool for my dad. And then my mom, she was always involved in church, music, ministry. So even when I was still in the womb, I was always like up on stage. So that's actually where my parents met, was at a Bible college up in Idaho. And then, we started when my mom was up on stage. When I was still in the womb, I felt like I was already on stage. So I didn't have too much stage fright when I started playing shows. But my family's always been super musical. And I guess that's kind of what got me inspired to start picking up instruments as young as I did. Because when I was around 3 years old, there were some videos already going around of me just playing on drum sets, being able to keep time with other people, especially my grandpa. He played in a marimba band way back in like the 60s and 70s. So I picked up marimba through him. And it's been a fun journey ever since.
Tell me about what kind of music was played in your home.
It was kind of a broad spectrum. I guess what my dad enjoyed and what my mom enjoyed were completely different things. My mom was a big radio listener. She would always listen to talk shows, podcasts, and Christian music. So I had one spectrum of some kind of down-tempo, either gospel or Christian vibes. And then my dad, while he's still somewhat religious as well, that wasn't really in his rotation. It would be stuff from the Dead Kennedys to Pink Floyd to just psych rock, some funk, a lot of different stuff. The Doors as well, definitely a big influence for him. And then I remember he definitely had a taste for U2, kind of like in the early 2000s as far as it goes. So I definitely was the first person in the immediate family to go into the abstract as far as music goes, because as far as their taste developed, I always wanted to go way, way far down the rabbit hole. I just wanted to go for the trippiest stuff I could find. So I took some leads from them as far as taste, but definitely went on my own path after high school.
What's the first record you can ever remember hearing in your home? Like your earliest memory of a song?
My mom, she always had a rotation of like, it's gonna sound funny. So Dixie Chicks, and she'd have like Jennifer Knapp was another one that comes to mind. So she was really like on that mindset as far as song selection. My dad, there is an album that I always go back to by a band called Poor Old Lou. They were based, I think, out of Idaho, either Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, or California, one of the two, because that's one of the locations that I kind of was raised in. So Poor Old Lou was a really cool band. Probably one of the first songs I ever heard was Sickly, which sounds super dark for me being like 3 or 4 years old and remembering songs, but it's all some pretty cool like rock and roll, I guess, but from the 90s.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you transition into working in hip hop? Like when did you first become aware of hip hop's existence?
So I was always aware of it. Even when I lived here, I was a homeschooler, raised in a very funny set of circumstances. So as far as me developing my musical taste, it was a lot of time on the internet, because a lot of people, they go to public or private schools, they see what their friends like, they mimic it, they add a little bit of flavor, and that's what it is. For me, I just had the internet. I had all the time in the world. Given that I was homeschooled, I'd listen to my friends' musical tastes, and to be honest, I never liked any of it. Never. Because,
Right.
a group of homeschoolers, you might be able to find someone who really likes music in that group, but there's a certain amount of reasons why people end up being homeschooled. And it can lead you to have a very simplistic music selection. But that wasn't the case for me, or at least two of my closer friends going to like high school with. So I guess the way that I transitioned from their taste to mine was just through the internet. Probably when I was 14 or 15, I just started streaming everything I possibly could. And when I was 14, at that time, I was living in Michigan. So Michigan definitely crafted my musical taste very quickly. I wasn't allowed to go into a lot of venues where live music was being played because I was so young. But I started DJing when I was 16, which got me into some pretty cool parties, some pretty cool situations where I grew up really fast and I saw the world around me, and I was able to develop my own taste kind of accordingly, from electronic music to rap and everything in between.
What's the first hip hop record you ever remember hearing?
Let's see. So there's definitely some old stuff, but I'm gonna let you know right now. Yeah, I listened to some whack rap when I was first growing up, but I think the first one that stuck with me is probably gonna be like Candy Shop, 50 Cent, In the Club, 50 Cent. He was definitely like a cool, definitely an inspiration for me. But keep in mind, I mean, I heard that when I was 9 or 10, and I thought that was cool. But I didn't really make full circle back around to rap again until I was like 16, because I definitely had a huge, and I still have like a huge streak of punk rock in me. So I love that type of music. But I didn't really start understanding the culture behind like what rap was. I was just like, man, these beats are cool. Until I was probably 16, when I started like really doing my research and figuring out who and why I like certain people.
You said you have a lot of like punk rock in your veins. What was it about punk rock? I mean, for me, it was always the rebellious nature of it, right? And the sort of thumbing your nose at authority. But that's not always the same for everyone. What was it about punk rock that drew you to it?
No, it was pretty much that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not that I had like crazy encounters with the police or this or that, but from a pretty young age, I saw how the world worked, and I understood discrimination, and I saw what people were fighting for. So given that, for the most part, I'm relatively introverted, the way that I can express myself is through music or art, other mediums, but really music was a big one for me. So yeah, that was okay. So I think System of a Down was a huge inspiration as far as like a breakout punk rock. They're metal, but there's a lot of new metal ways you could put people in boxes categorically. But some of their first albums, like back in the late 90s, mid 90s, along with like the weird timing of Tool albums, I was listening to some of the first ones they put out because my dad actually turned me onto them when I was much younger. So yeah, it's just the way that I express myself, the way I can communicate with other people, felt like punk kind of resonated with me, but I didn't really go into like pop punk or those types of things ever.
Gotcha. You hear 50 Cent. What attracts you to that kind? What was it that? Because obviously you said that there's about a 7-year gap there where you're not really into hip hop, but something must have resonated with you at that point when you first heard it for you to circle back. What do you think that was?
Definitely how he raps in the pocket, and what I mean by that is, you listen to just like the very bottom low end of any of the beats that he's on, and like 21 Questions is a good one as well, where you'll hear the kick has a certain cadence to it, where it's dum 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 dum, and you hear something like that, and the way that he would kind of just flow in and out of it, and the way his vocal range was kind of bassy as well. So while there's an 808 there, it never felt dry or tinny anywhere in the middle, like those breathers, the bridges, and everything that he would put into songs to make them interesting. It was interesting because of his voice, not just because a producer gassed him up and made him sound really good. And of course, when I was younger, I didn't know why I liked it. I just liked it. But now that I'm kind of reverse engineering music and why I appreciate things and what my ears like to hear, that's definitely why I listen to him.
Gotcha.
For sure.
So as a producer, you work with a lot of different artists, right? And so you kind of have to work in a lot of different styles. How do you create a beat? Like, where does that start for you?
Man, okay. So I feel like I can work in almost any workflow, in any order, in any arrangement. It's just free form for me. Sometimes artists are most comfortable coming to me and they'll give me something like, well, I have a beat and I have these words and this is what I'm looking to do over it. So sometimes the first way I'll approach is I'll say, hey, let's have you just rap over the track a couple times. We kind of feel where your vocals are going to sit, and then we make some adjustments accordingly. Personally, as a producer, I don't like doing easy tracks. I don't like it when someone comes to me with a beat that they bought and they want to do 1 or 2 takes over it and then leave. That's honestly frustrating for me. It just leaves too much room for things to be added. It just doesn't feel like I'm even an important part of the process. So usually I'll charge someone way too much for something like that. I'll say, hey, so I'll charge you, X amount of dollars for doing a project like this, or let's spend this whole night. We make this track exactly how you want and rebuild it from the ground up. So I guess my favorite workflow for producing tracks is someone hits me with an instrumental, they have the bars written out, and then I just break it down and reconstruct it in roughly the same key and same speed. When I do that, I'll find that a lot of times, I mean, there's definitely some rappers I've worked with that just know exactly their sound and what they want, and I never question it. But I mean, I work with a lot of up and coming artists as well. So sometimes they'll be rapping and you can't enunciate or hear all the words they're trying to enunciate. So I give them little recommendations. I say that bass is too booming. Let's trim that back. Let's do an analog bass instead. I have one right next to me. We just lay down new chords, maybe slowing down, speeding up tracks. There's a million different ways to do it. But yeah, no, I just like to have that intimate connection with any artist I'm working with.
So I think that's a great question. One of the things I've noticed sort of in the current state of hip hop is something that is missing. You were talking about sort of like vocal inflection and kind of giving pointers. Why is it that some rappers seem to almost have a monotone where they only are delivering those bars in the exact same tone of voice? Whereas, and I think the great example of that is probably everyone from G Unit will range their emotions around what the song is, right? So they almost are never delivering the bars the same way throughout the song.
Definitely.
Why do you think that is?
So to pick apart that question there, first, I think that the rate that music is coming out nowadays, people often think that it's all about quantity over quality. So I think at the end of the day, these artists, they say, well, I can either take my time, we punch out one EP and a single, maybe another single every year, or we do 4 times as much, and we just track them out as fast as you can and just put it in an easily digestible format and just keep pumping it out. And numbers don't lie. If you do that enough, you're going to start building loyal fans. You keep doing that, rinse and repeat, and you might be happy with the result. That's not my personal trajectory. I go back and forth and I'll do 20 or 30 iterations of some tracks before I'm happy with them. But some people just think of it as a numbers game, and I don't judge them for it. I mean, a lot of people that do that are farther in this industry than where I'm at right now. But yeah, no, I definitely respect people that take a lot more time and are willing to be vulnerable, especially with ranges that they're not comfortable with. I think that's super cool. Even if someone's vocal range, that it's just a little bit imperfect and the auto-tune doesn't grab it into the right key, I think there's a time and a place for that. But when people experiment, I think that's when you can find some of the most real, unfiltered raps. So.
I think there's a question there, and I think that a lot of people misunderstand what auto-tune does, right? So as a producer, what does auto-tune do for you?
So it does a lot of things. As a producer, I mean, so there's a couple easy ways where you think of Lil Wayne, you think of T-Pain, you think of it makes someone who sounds bad sound good, but that's often not the case. I think one of the most important delineators is that when you first are recording tracks, before you're processing it, before you're doing work to every element of every track, you'll have raw audio. And raw audio, let's say you have an 808 that's perfectly tuned to a certain key. If you have a vocalist that's singing almost perfect, damn near as best you can, but he's just a couple hertz above and a couple hertz below, so he's barely either sharp or, something else where he's just not perfectly in key. When you start squishing all the sounds together, and what I mean by that is you try to mix all of the different elements together, especially when you get into 10, 15, 20 layers, those tiny differences just add up, and they definitely can start giving people issues. So as far as a mixing standpoint, Auto-tune's really important to be able to make sure that you can have a vocal be really loud and still clear. I think it helps with sibilance. It helps with a lot of other things as well. But that's one big thing for me. But I definitely do think it's a really cool tool to learn what range notes are good for a song. If you put something in a major scale and you just go all the way from one octave up to the next, you figure out what keys and what notes you're comfortable hitting. If you're not a natural trained musician, I think it's like the fastest shortcut to being able to find your range and experiment. So it's definitely worth checking out.
So when you got into producing hip hop, who were your big influences?
Some of the biggest influences were not from hip hop. To be honest with you, they're from two different extremes. So as close to hip hop influences as I would say, John Bellion is a big one for me. And he's more pop, if anything. But he's definitely like a sonic, the way that I hear sounds, he's a huge influence to me. Also, Anderson .Paak is a big one as well. He's definitely in like my top 3 all-time musicians. I think he's dope. And then another artist, he's electronic as background, but Zoo, ZHU. He has like a lot of good stuff that he's experimented with. I've been listening to him since like 2013, 14, something like that. And yeah, he's always caught my eye because he can play piano, play guitar, sing, produces all of his own stuff, and his live shows are sick as well. So he's like a well-rounded artist that I look up to. But as far as music, what inspires me in my beat making, yeah, the people aforementioned plus Mr. Carmack is another really big one there. He's a kind of trap electronic house producer / DJ from Hawaii, and he just kicks ass, man. He's so cool.
You know, it's really interesting. I don't think a lot of people are aware of the link between EDM and hip hop, right? I don't think a lot of people realize that they were both created in Queensbridge, right, by Africa Bambaataa. And it's so interesting because there seems to be legitimate distrust between the two groups of fans, right? I've certainly hung out with any number of ravers that are like, oh, I don't like hip hop, and I've hung out with any number of hip hop fans that are like, no, I don't like EDM. Why do you think we break music down that way and we categorize it that way? What do you think the psychology of that is? Where it's like my kind of music's better than your kind of completely subjective music.
Yeah. Well, I think people bond over a common enemy. So even if it's just kind of facetious, if it's just for making a conversation, I think it's definitely something that humans do. It's just human nature to basically find an imperfection about someone else. Talking with a girl right in front of you, you find imperfection in someone else, you blow it up out of proportion. You say, yeah, oh, you don't like G-Eazy? I don't like him either. Slicked over hair, he thinks he's all that from the Bay Area. Oh, how about you go buy your own trash bags? So there's a whole bunch of different ways that people can break down a person or a genre just for their own personal gain. But I think at the end of the day, people are a lot more open-minded than they'd like to think. Just like how politics divide us, for a good majority of the rational people, we're on the same page. We're just pulled apart into different teams without our own volition. So I don't think it's us doing that.
So your new track, which we'll talk about at the end of this, 1312.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did you write this track? Because it's very relevant to right now. And to anyone listening, please go out and stream the fuck out of this because it's incredible.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
But how did you write the song, develop the instrumental, and then produce the track? Walk us through that process.
For sure. So for that particular song, it was pretty straightforward. Basically, I made the beat first. It was originally intended for my boy Kari. He's super dope. And we're working on a whole project together right now for him. And for whatever reason, once the beat was actually compressed, I had it one layer. It was all done, all with a nice little bow, all tied up. I already just had this whole vision for the hook and how the hook was going to go into the chorus. And that whole part was just almost instantaneous. Basically, the first sentence that came to mind was, circulate all of the news, all of a sudden the boys in the blue got the blues. And right after that part there, I just started thinking, I'm like, all right, there's a bunch of different ways I can take it because Number one, obviously, I'm white. This isn't my position to make claims off of anyone else's, experiences and worldview, but I definitely feel like I've seen enough, and if I don't say something, then I'm just going to be kicking myself, because I think we're in a very important time, just as far as history is concerned. So I felt like I had to say something. So I think what the song was about and the intention for it was to start a conversation. And since I dropped that song only yesterday, I've got texts from family members, I've got messages from Instagram, Facebook. I had a cop thank me for the song. And even after everything that I said in it, it's not anti-police. It's just, we need reform. We need some changes made fundamentally. And I lay them out in the song in a pretty positive way for the most part. But basically, the beat was straightforward. I wrote everything, kind of pieced it together in one night. I think I recorded it the same night as well. And I just woke up the next day and I knew, like, man, we need a video for it. So then I hit up Lorde Sanctus from Connect the Coast, and he just connected some dots. Got this guy, he goes by Rizky Digital, Rizky Digital. And he put together a video, which I love. Like, it's so cool. I think it ties in my whole vision, and he just made it happen. The whole process took maybe a week and a half. I think my favorite part about it, though, was the actual filming for the video. We filmed on a place that I had already been, like, probably, what would that have been, 12 years ago, which is right next to Harvest Church. So I used to go to church there, raised by, all these different people collectively, kind of. And here I am on the rooftops, right back to square one, talking about the problems I've never been involved with. I was never taught how the world works. So I just came back there to tell people what I've learned, what I've gathered.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you, we're going to do what's called the lightning round.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Hit me with the truth.
So the lightning round is complicated. It generally throws people off. So it's going to be 2 top 5 questions, and then I've introduced a new segment called Ask the Podcaster Anything, where you're allowed to ask me a question.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to answer it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm going to get you, and then you're going to get me. All right.
Absolutely.
So here it is. Top 5 musicians on your bucket list that you want to work with.
That I want to work with. I want to work with, let's see. Mr. Carmack, I want him to be my producer for at least one song. Great Dane, exact same situation. Anderson .Paak, I at least want to give him a hug and pick his brain. I think he's an amazing soul. Let's see. James K, I've already made a song with him, and he's not a world famous superstar yet, but he's on his way up, so I want to keep working with that fool. And then definitely John Bellion. I know I mentioned him before, but he couldn't get mentioned enough. I'm going to want to work with that guy.
Okay.
Big time.
Top 5 albums of any genre of all time.
Shit. All right.
Take your time with it, by the way. We can always edit out the silence.
No, Cap. You got to keep me on my toes. You said it's a lightning round for a reason. So, let's see. I'm going to say Malibu by Anderson .Paak for sure. We're going to go with Minutes to Midnight by Linkin Park. I think that one had some... of course, I was much younger, but like if we're talking influential all time, bro, that thing hits. Valentine's Day was just like a game changer when I was like 9 years old. I was screaming that shit in the shower. Let's see. The Sweetness, Jimmy Eats World. That was an album right there. That definitely hit. Let's see. Ooh, there was an album by Mad Zach. The name is escaping me. It was in 2016. Had 5 tracks, so it's only an EP, but it was the project he dropped in 2016. That was game changing for me sonically, like as far as how sounds go. Same goes for Noisia. Noisia dropped an album. It was a white album. I think it was called The Arrival, and that was in 2018. And that was insane. Was that 5?
That is 4, I think.
4? All right.
If not, I'll edit it down to 5.
Absolutely. And then you got to separate the art from the artist on this one because of recent events. But Bass Nectar's album that dropped in 2016, it was not the one with Va Va Voom. It was something ethereal. So that was pretty sick as well. It was a 12-song one that had a bunch of different artists on it, including Cohen Sound. Cohen Sound's going to be number 6.
Okay.
But yeah, there we go.
Okay. So it is your turn to ask the podcaster anything.
When's the last time you peed the bed?
Oh, fuck. Oh. I was in a really bad accident when I was 12 years old. My legs actually got crushed in a car door.
Oh, shit.
And I think I vaguely remember that night peeing the bed. And it was a bad situation because I had to relearn how to walk.
Shoot.
And but it was, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not ashamed to tell that story. It's legitimate. Like I've nearly died, so
No, absolutely. I respect that. All right. Fair enough.
So Jay Riley, where can people find your music?
You can find it Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, YouTube as far as music videos go. I also have a website, jrileymusic.com, and you can check it out there. And hopefully we can just hang out in real life sooner rather than later, because I don't like social networking. I mean, I do it as a means to an end.
Sure.
But if people want to connect, just see me in real life. That's really what I'm all about. I'm not very active on social media.
Sure, of course. Jay Riley, thank you for coming on the pod, man. I really appreciate it. As you can see, Jay's influences and abilities are all over the place. He has the ability to hear music in a way that I will probably never understand. In addition, his ability to break down very complicated music concepts into terms that even a layman can understand is pretty impressive. One of the things I loved about talking with Jay Riley was getting an instant understanding of why he came from where he came from and how it developed into the musical sounds that he has now. Jay didn't tell me this at the time, and I'm recording this several weeks later, but he has a new record coming out called Way Back Home, which will now be available on Spotify the day after this podcast is released, so please check it out. I've been very lucky to have Jay in my corner, and in addition, his abilities to edit
You know you ain't stopping us, we moving like the mafia. They listen to our music and they copy us, it's obvious.
Mafia, mafia,
We moving like the mafia.
mafia, mafia.
And you know you ain't stopping us. Get on the track sounding so gutter. Rogue status like no other. Beat your ass like you stole something. When the cops come, we don't know nothing. Marky Mark, me and four brothers. Niggas mad, but the hoes love us. We ain't never scared like Bone Crusher. Fuck yourself with no rubber. First class on the airplane. Secret affair with Mary Jane. Do all the hating you want. I bet you won't jump. I'll put that on everything. Top dog like I'm Charles Manson. They wanna talk, but I ain't Samson. Randy Moss in zone dancing. I've been a boss since I've been in Pampers. Belly full cause I'm eating good. Left the hood but can't leave the hood. 419, I'm from the mud. You got a problem, we knuckle up. Famous do something about that action. I promise I ain't never been a bitch. They fucking with me cause I been legit. They fucking with you cause they benefit. I'm showing ass like a stripper do. Breaking cash like a stripper do. Talking bad, they sick of dude. I zig and zag, I stick and move. My grass is greener, dad shoes. CNN, bad news. Going nuts, cashews. Ape shit, bad booms. You know you ain't stopping us, we moving like the mafia. They listen to our music and they copy us, it's obvious.
Mafia, mafia,
We moving like the mafia.
mafia, mafia.
And you know you ain't stopping
They call me
us.
the Lord, that means everything I do is metaphysical. I be taking hella drugs, but I don't be doing any with the chemicals. I be looking at the gram, looking at the tweets, I see the subliminals. But every time I come around, ain't no talking down, ain't no sounding cynical. Yeah, they be like, oh hell, I be like, oh well, My well game is to be sold, never to be told, but I got it on sale, on sale. I got all the dope, all the cartel, nigga going dumb like I can't spell. Try to ride the wave, but they can't sail. Said to level up, but I can't tell, boy, cause I'm too high. See my wings, boy, I'm too fly. Been the shit with no two-ply. Married to the money, she a new bride. If you represent the coast, ain't no in between, boy, you better choose sides. MJ Moon walking on the beat, I ain't even got my shoes tied. Whole lot of gang shit, watch a nigga who ride. Dumb niggas, hang yourself with a belt, here go, I got the noose tied. Only organic all day, over here, nigga, we don't do fried. All y'all my sons, so I told your moms, go and get a tooth tied. See that new BMW? Pull up, put that in parks. Now I'm fucking with Jarvis. Think that I'm Tony Stark? You ain't hitting your targets, you ain't making your mark. Swimming deep in them waters, might get end up eaten by sharks.
You know you ain't stopping us, we moving like the mafia. They listen to our music and they copy us, it's obvious.
Mafia, mafia,
We moving like the mafia,
mafia, mafia.
and you know you ain't stopping us.
Hannah Montana, your body is crazy. I went to court in the cops to Mercedes. I push the Subaru like it's Ferrari. I wear my Nikes just like it's Tekashi. Shout out to Dom cause I'm running up Gosha. I'm at the factory picking out fabric. I'm doing things that you can't even fathom. I fucked the babysitter in the mansion. Hannah Montana, your body is crazy. I went to court in the cops to Mercedes. I push the Subaru like it's Ferrari. I wear my Nikes just like it's Tekashi.
Looking in my eyes when he talked to me. Said that he had cash, then he asking me, what would you do if I break off all these dollar bills? What would you do if I break off all these dollar bills? What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? What would you do if I break off all these dollar bills? What would you do if I break off all these dollar bills?
Hannah Montana, your body is crazy. I went to court in the cops to Mercedes. I push the Subaru like it's Ferrari. I wear my Nikes just like it's Tekashi. Shout out to Dom cause I'm running up Gosha. I'm at the factory picking out fabric. I'm doing things that you can't even fathom. I fucked the babysitter in the mansion. Sit on my face and you know I'm attacking. Cost me a grip but you know I'ma flip it. I'm in the studio eating on chicken. I brought the flow and it come with a written. Shout out to Dom cause I'm running up Gosha. I'm at the factory picking out fabric. I'm doing things that you can't even fathom. I fucked the babysitter in the mansion. Knowing she never look back. I might just turn off the lights. Knowing she never look back. I might just turn off the lights. Hannah Montana, your body is crazy. I went to court in the cops to Mercedes. I push the Subaru like it's Ferrari. I wear my Nikes just like it's Tekashi. Hannah Montana, your body is crazy. I went to court in the cops to Mercedes. I push the Subaru like it's Ferrari. I wear my Nikes just like it's Tekashi.
What the fuck you been at?
What do you mean where the fuck I've been? I've been working, girl. You know this shit.
You're fucking lying, Eddie.
What do you mean I'm lying? Really? You want to do this shit in front of the kids
Yes,
right now?
Eddie, I'm tired of your fucking shit already. I'm done with you.
What do you mean
Grow
you're
up
fucking
already.
done?
I don't want to be with you anymore. I want you out of my house, nigga. You keep fucking playing games. Get out.
You want me to get the fuck out?
Get out, Eddie. Get out.
Look, what it is, what it was, what it really is. Everything I ever do, I do it for my kids. I'm just trying to push my family towards bigger things. I'm just trying to move my mama to a bigger crib. Got a couple 40 ounces, let me reminisce. Talk about my kids and all the shit I miss. I know things with your mama ain't ever right. We always leaving each other and starting fights. And I can swear that she's talking to different guys. But if I told you I'm perfect, then I'd be lying. I'm trying to hold it together, look, I be trying. I know you growing up fast and time is flying. You already know, you my baby boo. I don't wanna know the world if it's not with you. Say you love me, Poppy, I love you too. You're like everything I wanted, man, I got it good.
At the tone, please record your message. When you finish recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Papi, I love you so much. I miss you, Papi. When are you coming home? Love you, Papi. See you later.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Look, I've been on my feelings, I've been acting childish. Lately I've been going through domestic violence. If I ever texted you, I'm really sorry. Lately I've been feeling like a fucking artist. Drinking out the bottle till I feel retarded. Problems with my baby mother kept in silence. You know I don't encourage any type of violence, but I just had to get it on my chest. Mama said I'm too young, I'm too blessed. All these problems, bet you never would've guessed. I think about the time when you're not with me. I love you like Kobe did his girl Gigi. If it was up to me, I let these bullets hit me. If it was up to me, I give you both my kidneys. If they ain't feel me then, swear to God they feel me. And we gon' be together even if it kill me. I know I'm not around, I'm always out of town. I'm tryna hold it down, I'm tryna hold it down. I promise Damien I ain't never gon' let you down. I promise Damien I ain't never gon' break that smile. I know I'm not around, I'm always out of town. I'm tryna hold it down, I'm tryna hold it down. I promise Damien I ain't never gon' let you down. I promise Damien I ain't never.
Taking all of me. I'm losing my balance. I didn't think it could happen. I got lost in her eyes. Now I'm really too trapped in. They were saying don't panic. I was losing my sanity. It was on the plan. Even if I ain't planning. Yeah, I got what you need now, but I still remember that you left me. I've been running like a track team. If you up late night, bet that I'm around. I don't need your love no more to hold me down. I've been out my city now on another coast, I hold it down. Oh, nah. Can't be letting my niggas down, gotta make the sound, nigga knows now. Oh yeah. Fuck around my baby, how when I did you wrong, you still stay right by my side. Left you on the coast, should've kept you warm, but you still told me it was alright. I do things that I know you don't understand. I've been hurting too long, I don't wanna go back. She gon' wanna stay tonight, I just wanna play it right. I don't wanna waste your time, after all they waste my time. That don't got me feeling nice. I'm back up in this bitch with money coming. fuck it, I'll repeat it just so you know I mean that. I know you feel it creeping, it got my stomach sinking. I'm swimming in the deep end, I'm rolling in the deep. Fuck around with me, got you feeling free. One day you go see, when I reach my peak.
I've been ballin' every day, I feel like O'Neal on the block. Ain't nobody in my lane, I get the bag and keep shit hot. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I've been ballin' every day, I feel like O'Neal on the block. Ain't nobody in my lane, I get the bag and keep shit hot. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up.
I like her antics, I can't stand this. Winding her up all the way with semantics. She can read into it, I can get into it too. Though cool, better one-room residence. Got this bitch trying to read my poems and shit. Get off my dick. Through 2K and Doge like fuck it. Hit my deposit like your name is stimulus. Hit my DMs if your man couldn't finish. You're leaving, you gasping, you can't finish sentences. Nigga dependent, looking for attention. Shit wasn't that easy, you ain't getting Benjamins. Riding this wave, you barely in attendance. Went through it all, no more smoking no medicine.
I've been ballin' every day, I feel like O'Neal on the block. Ain't nobody in my lane, I get the bag and keep shit hot. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I've been ballin' every day, I feel like O'Neal on the block. Ain't nobody in my lane, I get the bag and keep shit hot. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I run it up to the max. Nico Cochise smoke the loudest, it packs like Judge Gavels on my shit is a slap. Got a bad bitch and I'm breaking her back. Yeah, she like the way how I talk, I like the way how she walk when I'm looking behind. She be the baddest I've seen, keep playing it around. She be sipping no more than some wine. I ain't tryna play no games. See, I got these racks to tend to. I came from the bottom like toilet seats, now I'm going up like a blimp too. Cause they seeing that nigga this shit too. The flow colder than blizzards and igloos. Don't me jazz when I say I got big blues. Having fun with these rats with no issues. I get higher than the skydive, well connected just like Wi-Fi. I'm on the coast with my mob ties, I shoot for the stars with a carbine. Number one draft on the combine, all I gotta do is just talk from the sideline. Anything I'm on is prime time, keep the world, the galaxies all mine. I've been ballin' every day, I feel like O'Neal on the block. Ain't nobody in my lane, I get the bag and keep shit hot. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up. I run it up, till the sun is up, till the sun is up.
20 years strong, I've been in it too long. Never get the shit wrong, I'm a triple OG. We too strong, puff a triple OG. Nigga, I'ma tell you like a nigga told me. Young black man, never call the police. Get a little brown bag if you're sippin' OE. Finger on the trigger if